Jake here for American Trucks, and today I've got the Flowmaster Flow FX single side exit exhaust with the black tip for 2015 to 2020 3.5 liter EcoBoost F-150s, excluding the Raptor, and 2019 to 2020 limited model trucks. Now, an exhaust can make or break the driving experience of your truck, and if you're looking for a noticeable but still kind of subtle way to update your truck's sound and performance, then this Flow FX system is going to appeal to you. This one combines a slick side exit exhaust setup with a more subtle version of that classic Flowmaster sound at an affordable price point, so it's perfect for the daily driven truck. Now, putting a new exhaust onto the 3.5 liter EcoBoost engine can be a little bit hit or miss, but I think Flowmaster really got the balance right here. If you want some better noise out of your EcoBoost, but you don't want to go around rattling the windows or getting your neighbors irritated, then the Flow FX system is going to be a great choice for you. Coming in at a 2 out of 5 on our loudness meter, it's unlike a lot of other aftermarket exhausts in that it's just not super loud. As you heard in the clips at the beginning of the video, you still get that deep grumble at idle that gives way to a much more raspy race car inspired tone toward the top end of the rev range. Now, it's not super loud, and it also lets some of that cool turbo whistle through without making the V6 deafening or too terribly raspy. It's very easy to get these trucks to sound sort of like they're just gargling marbles, but that's definitely not the case here. And when you're at idle or even just cruising around, the sound is much more mild and it's relatively unobtrusive. It's more of a moderate step up from a stock system. Now, there is going to be a difference in volume and tone to the exhaust versus your stock system. Not so little that you won't notice it though. It's definitely there. Now, inside of the cabin, you're also going to hear this more than you would your stock system, as you would with any aftermarket exhaust. But it's not going to be so loud that you can't carry on a conversation, nor will you get tons of drone either. So for a daily driven truck or one that's going to see a lot of highway miles, that's a great benefit. You'll get the sound that you want and none of the annoyances that sometimes come with aftermarket exhausts. Now, although Flowmaster calls this Flow FX muffler a straight through unit, you can see that there are some baffles in here. So it's going to do a good job of dampening that sound. Hence the more mild tone than something like their Outlaw series. Now, that's also going to help keep the drone at bay, making for, again, a much more pleasant drive without too much noise. Construction here is all 409 grade stainless steel, and it's a pretty nice piece overall. So you're going to get some good rust and corrosion protection, though it won't be quite as much as T304 stainless. However, you also don't get the price of T304, but we'll talk more about that in a moment. The piping is all 3-inch mandrel bent tubing, and that means you're going to get great exhaust flow, and it's also going to help with reducing back pressure as well. Now, this again is a single side exit exhaust, so it's going to end up in pretty much the same position as your stock setup. However, you do get a little extra something to draw people's eye, and that is this black tip. This is a rolled 4.5-inch tip, and it's made from T304 stainless steel and finished in a black ceramic coating. So not only does it look great, but it's also going to stand the test of time. Pricing for this system is another big selling point in my book, folks, as this one comes in at about $600. Now, it's not the cheapest system out there, but it does far undercut a lot of the other options for these trucks. And for what you're getting here, I do think that this one is worth the price. You're saving a bit of money versus a full 304 grade stainless setup, but it's still a good quality system that's going to sound better than stock and avoid some of the drone issues that cheaper ones will have. And it's also going to give the EcoBoost a really nice tone overall, which is not something that every aftermarket exhaust for this engine can say. Installation for this one will get a 2 out of 3 on the difficulty meter, and it should take you about 2 hours to get it all done. Now, everything you need is included in the kit, including an extension for the inlet pipe should you need the extra length to accommodate for a larger cab and or bed length. Instructions for which trucks need it are in the box as well. You may also need to make a cut to that extension pipe depending on your cab or bed size, but that is only one cut, and again, those instructions are included in the box. Otherwise, this is a pretty simple bolt-on system, and it's going to utilize all of your stock exhaust hangers, so there's no modification needed to your truck. Certainly a job that you can accomplish at home in your garage or driveway. And with that, let's head over to the install bay where we'll walk you through that process.
Tools you will need for this install are an impact, a ratchet, a swivel adapter, 13, various 14 millimeters, and a 15 millimeter socket, 14 millimeter wrench, hanger removal tool or pliers, penetrating lubricant, and a pry bar. What's up guys, today we're going to be showing you how to install a new exhaust on our F-150, but before we get started we're going to send you over to a short video on how to uninstall your factory system, and we'll see you when you get back.
So first things first, we got to get rid of our factory catback, and we're going to start by lubricating all of the hangers, and then there's two 13 millimeter bolts on this flange here that we're going to undo as well. That will allow us to push the whole exhaust back and drop it in one big piece. If you are working on the ground, you might have to loosen that clamp right there or bring out the saw to cut this into a couple pieces, but again, since we're on the lift, we're going to take it out in one big piece.
Alrighty guys, welcome back. Now that you've watched the video on how to uninstall your factory system, we're going to go ahead and install our new system. And the first step of that is going to be installing our mid pipe from our catted section to our flange. Okay, so now we can get our mid pipe into place. And once we have it there, we can kind of get it lined up. And it's a good idea to use a pole jack to help support your pipe while you're getting your flange bolted on, or if you're on the ground you can use a jack or jack stand as well. So for our flange we're going to be using our supplied hardware, which is two 14 millimeter bolts, two flat washers for each bolt, a lock washer, and a 14 millimeter nut on each side. So once we have our washers into place, we have a flat washer on our bolt side, a flat washer and lock washer on our nut side. And we'll go ahead and install our 14 millimeter nut. And go ahead and do the same thing for the other side of your flange. So you're going to want to keep these loose for now, just to aid in your fitment of your whole system, and we'll go back and tighten down everything after we get everything set up. So next up we can go ahead and install our hanger bracket to our mid pipe. And for that, we're going to go ahead and lubricate up our hanger rod a little bit, just so it slides through our rubber isolator a little bit easier. Go ahead and slide that past your hanger bracket, rotate it up. And go ahead and slide it into your isolator. So next we can go ahead and install our muffler. And for that you want to make sure you slide your clamp onto your mid pipe first, just so it's on there. Go ahead and slide your muffler into place. And while you're supporting that, You can go ahead and move your pole jack or jack stands under your muffler so that the rest of the system is supported, so we can move to the tail section. So now we can move on to our axle back section, and before we do that, remember to place your clamp on your muffler. And again, we're going to lubricate our hangers for our tail section, just so it don't give us any problems going into our isolators. So you can go ahead and fish your tailpipe section up over, get it lined up with your muffler and your hangers. Now that we can put our tailpipe section in, we want to go ahead and line up our rear hanger first. Get that started. We can line up our front hanger. Once you have your hangers in, you can go ahead and line up your tail section with your muffler. And slide it into place. Okay, so now that we have our whole system in place, we can go ahead and double check for any clearance issues there might be, especially this cross member. There's an air gap between that, you're good to go, and we can tighten up our flange bolts using our 14mm socket, swivel, impact, and 14mm wrench. So next we can go ahead and tighten down our hanger clamp using our 15mm socket and impact. And remember, you want to make sure your hanger goes underneath of your exhaust pipe for support. Next up, we can tighten down our two muffler clamps, again using our 15mm socket on our impact. Can you see this one too? Yeah. Next, we can go ahead and install our tip. Go ahead and slide it into place. Make sure it's facing with the slash cut up. And then we can go ahead and tighten that down using our 14mm socket, a ratchet, and a 14mm wrench. So now we can go ahead and tighten down our tip using our 14mm socket, a ratchet, and a 14mm wrench. Alrighty guys, that about wraps up our review and install of our Flowmaster FlowFX single exhaust system with black tips and a side exit for your 15 to 20 3.5 liter EcoBoost F-150, excluding Raptors, and your 19 and 20 F-150 Limited. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.